This is a video that I never once realistically thought I would be making. We are currently living in an era of nostalgia, for better or for worse. As far as I'm concerned, I love it. I was born in '86, grew up in the early '90s with pop culture, movies, video games, comic books, all this stuff that was marketed squarely at my generation. It was a magical time. You could have rated R movies, and they would turn into cartoon shows for us. And now there's an army out there of 30-plus-year-old grown men, and ladies, that get nostalgic every once in a while. And, you know, sometimes we want to relive the feeling of owning all these devices from times past. I mean, look how well all these classic consoles have sold, like the SNES Classic, NES Classic. I myself bought the SNES Classic, and I never use it. But at the end of the day, all these devices that are coming back, they're just cool collector's items. Well, now we have another video game console device, time-traveling back from the 90s, and it's something I have joked about. I can't believe it's actually happening. You remember those little Tiger electronic handheld machines? The ones that were all terrible games and barely had anything resembling graphics? Man, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, for those of you that were born a bit later. So think of a game like Mortal Kombat. You had this really cool arcade machine with what at the time was mind-blowing graphics, amazing new gameplay, and then you would usually get a slightly watered-down port on a home console like a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and then you would have an even more watered down bottom of the barrel Game Boy version, which was an almost unplayable version of said game most of the time. While the Tiger electronic handheld games in terms of video game quality were below that, under the bottom of the barrel, they were beneath the barrel. The most basic video games imaginable, they drained AA batteries, there was no backlight on the screen, just a couple of still images that were masked as animations, kind of like the old Game & Watch games. All of these were terrible, but there was something about them that made them so cool to own. To me, it had a lot to do with the golden age of arcades, and I know what you might be thinking, that's ridiculous, arcades are so much better. Hear me out, this is what I mean. Clearly arcade games are way more advanced in every way, but take a look at a real arcade cabinet. What do you see? They celebrated the game that was inside. They had a light-up marquee displaying the name of the game, artwork splashed on the sides, bezels surrounding the screen that displayed game characters. There was a beauty to their design. And having these little handhelds almost felt like having a mini arcade machine. You had the artwork surrounding a screen. They just looked cool, and they were great time wasters when your parents took you to a store and you were bored to death inside the shopping cart. And I've seen the typical complaints on social media. Oh, these are archaic, this is stupid, why are they re-releasing that? It's no different than all the classic game consoles coming out. They're cool collector's items. Not one person that wants these is going to buy them because they're expecting a good video game. They're just these small devices that feed on nostalgia. That's what they are, and that's perfectly fine. Me, for one, I'm excited. I want to see which ones are going to come back. I had so many, just to name a few, which I can't even remember all the ones I had. I know I had this black X-Men one that talked to you. It was called like X-Men the Talking Game or something, and it kept saying, X-Men forever! You play as Wolverine. I know you fight Mr. Sinister. Sabretooth was in it. I can still remember the music. I had Jurassic Park, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Let me see, Street Fighter was another one. I had a Mega Man one. I don't remember exactly which one, but I'm gonna Google it when I edit this video, and I'll put a picture right here. So whatever you're looking at, that's what I had. And two of them that I really wanted, but I never owned it. At least I don't think I had them. I don't remember owning these. Castlevania Simon's Quest and Symphony of the Night also had one. I used to see these at Walmart all the time. And while making this video, I also started Googling around, and I got real curious, like, what other ones existed that I may not have known about? When the hell did Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero have one? Everything had a Tiger Electronic version. If you had this Sub-Zero game, please leave me a comment down below. I want to know who had this, and I want to know how it was. But here's the real hard-hitting question. When are the Tiger Electronic LCD Risk games coming out? Oh boy. If the handheld games were crap, these were absolute diarrhea. They were these little watches that you put in here, and they were on an even smaller screen, and they were those, you can't get any more basic. You can't. For now, what I assume is the first batch is going to come out fall 2020 this year. 4 of them are being re-released initially. We've got The Little Mermaid, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I'm happy about that one, Transformers Generation 2, I've never seen or heard of this one. I would have absolutely purchased it as a kid, or actually asked my parents to buy it for me. And X-Men Project X, another X-Men game I never heard of. I never saw this one. I was hoping that they would take the opportunity and put a backlit screen on them, replace the battery with a rechargeable USB port. That'd be cool, but sadly they are still going to run on AA, so better get those batteries ready. I'm curious if they're going to be direct reproductions, because they're actually being described as being inspired by the original counterparts. So whatever that means, we'll find out in fall of 2020. Yes, these games were all terrible. No, nobody was asking for any of this. But will I buy them? Absolutely. But leave me some comments down below. I want to know which handheld games you owned when you were a kid. I love getting into conversations about these Tiger Electronic handhelds with people, because every time I do, I always hear about some game that I never knew existed. I found out recently there was a GoldenEye handheld game. Never seen it in my life. Start the conversation below. I'll catch you guys later. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.